Everyone. This is Chris from Texas tonight, and wow, I just almost didn't get on. My camera started acting up. Had to disconnect it, use another camera, and it looked terrible. So anyways, we're here. Hopefully you can see and hear me well. Tonight I have some stuff I want to talk about. There's a list that was sent on the page in the last week. But before I get going, let me do this. So in the last couple of weeks, I was in Wisconsin, talking to the rural carriers in Wisconsin. I was in Gainesville, Florida, talking to the rural carriers there. Next week, I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama, talking with the AFGE. Really excited about that coming up. And a special thanks to Mr. Hodge. Last night I was on his podcast in Ohio, and which is always really fun. It's an interactive thing where we're able to talk back and forth versus me right now talking to the screen. And I was able to talk to him about a subject that I brought up a little bit in Wisconsin, but a lot in Florida last week, and it was this: you've got to start advocating for yourself. The days where you get pushed around have got to end. Not knowing the rules, there's really almost no excuse for it. If you're on this video right now, on this watching this live feed, you know a lot of the rules. You know probably more than any of the supervisors do. And so what I'm seeing happen is people getting really pushed around a lot. And I think that's happening primarily because you're not pushing back. And so everyone needs to get in the mindset pushing back. Don't just get run over. Don't allow management to push you around and break the rules. Get educated on the rules. Ask somebody. Call me. Message me. Talk to your union stewards and presidents. And stop this insanity of management causing you to not get your claims accepted or to not even report your injuries. It's become painfully clear that the reason 1 out of 13 federal employees has an accepted claim is primarily due to the fact, and I used to think it was because there's not enough doctors, and there's not. We're working on it. But I think it's primarily due to the fact that you're scared to file your claims, or you don't know how, or somebody has told you a lie, and you're just going with it and believing it. And so, you've got to, you got to push back and advocate for yourself. If you're not angry on your own behalf, who else is going to be angrier than you? Who's going to push harder for you than you will? I hope nobody. I hope that as hard as I push, that you will push harder than I could push, because it's your life, your money, your benefits. So I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a minute, but I wanted to make that clear that you've got to push for yourself. Okay, if a supervisor tells you something, 9 times out of 10 it's probably wrong, and go find the right answer. If you ask me, I'll tell you the right answer. It'll take me like 2 seconds, okay? I still haven't been stumped. So let's get going on this. And I'm just going to tell you in advance, this is going to be a shorter broadcast than normal. My son, thank the Lord, has decided to learn how to drive, and so I have to pick him up tonight. So I need to stop in time to go get him. But we'll cover all these topics fully. So number one. We'll be discussing, once you file your CA1 and 2, how long does it take to get your claim accepted, and why does it take so long? And why does it take so long is really the problem, right? So you want to know how long does it take? Well, obviously it takes too long. So you can't put a number on that, but anybody that's tried to file a claim knows that that number is too long. In 2015 was the last time OWCP did an internal audit. It's the last time that I've seen. And they said they found that it took them 45 days to make a decision. That's to make a decision. Decisions include denials. So 45 days is about 6 weeks, right? And so it takes about 6 weeks. It can take longer. I mean, 6 weeks was an average. So everyone knows averages include things that are less than that, things that are more than that. So it can take more than 2 months. But why does that happen? Well, number one reason it happens is you delay filing your claim. Now, everyone that's heard me talk knows you delay filing your claim, you also delay benefits, or you lose them. Delay filing a CA1, you lose a CA16 that pays your bills. Delay filing a CA1 for more than 30 days, you lose COP that pays your time off. And so why would you do that to yourself? And all you've got to do is report. Now, a report of an injury is as simple as telling your supervisor. Now, a better way to report is to get it in writing, and the best way to report is to fill out a CA1 or CA2. And once you do that, they have 10 days to turn it into DOL. So why does it take so long? Well, once you do it, they have 10 days to turn it into Department of Labor. So there's 10 out of those 45 we talked about. And then from there, you've got to find a doctor who will write narrative reports that know what they're doing. And if your doctor doesn't send in their narrative report, it's going to take even longer, because a claims examiner is not going to approve your claim just because you turn in a CA1 or 2. They're just not. They're going to approve your claim because you turn one in and a doctor proved your claim. They will approve your claim when the doctor approves your claim. And so you've got to get to a doctor who is willing to write the narrative report and use the kind of detail that it takes to get these claims accepted. So now let's get back to advocating for yourself. Most of you, unfortunately, most people don't live in an area where there's a doctor who knows how to write claims or write narrative reports. And so that means you've got to be your own best advocate. If your doctor writes a bad report, give it back and tell him, hey, this sucks. Do better. I want my claim to be accepted. This is not going to help. And, it's fine with me if you want to send something to me and ask me to look at it, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to tell you, is your doctor going to get started on this or what? Because 5 sentences is not a narrative report. It's 5 paragraphs isn't. 5 pages is. They've got to detail what your job requires, how you got hurt that day, and how your job caused the injury. And then they've got to detail what the injury means, like knee pain. Well, what the hell is knee pain? Well, it depends, okay? They've got to determine that it was the lateral collateral ligament. And how did that get strained or sprained or torn? They've got to be able to detail how the job that day caused that injury. And if they don't do that, you have a denial. So why do claims take so long to have decisions made? Because your doctors do a bad job, or they delay sending in reports, okay? And once reports and everything are sent in, the claim examiner will do their job. But guess what? Now they're going to look at a bad report and say, oh, denied. And so it's delayed even longer. So most of the time, a denied claim is the fault of the doctor. And it's almost never anything else other than the doctor wrote a bad narrative report. So, how long does it take to get your claim accepted, and why does it take so long? Well, once you get your claim denied, now you've got to go through an appeal process, right? So many of you out there have good intentions and tell your coworkers, appeal, appeal, appeal. Well, appeal is not really a thing, okay? There's a form called appeal request form. But on that, you have several options. You need to select reconsideration and make your doctor do a better job, or find a new doctor and write a better narrative report. So, if you get a denial, you have 12 months from the denial to appeal, to do a reconsideration with new information. So that's going to delay it if you take 12 months. So get on top of this stuff. Advocate for yourself. Nobody is as good of an advocate as you are for you. So that's what you got to do. You've got to be your own best advocate. Once your claim is accepted, what happens next? Well, all right, hopefully you've been to a doctor who understands this process. Likely you have not. But let's say you have. You should have already started treatment. Whatever the doctor needed or felt like was medically necessary should have been done already. And so you start getting treated. But what happens when it's accepted? All right, well, you're able to go back and get your time back, number one. So what does that mean? You can fill out a CA7 form and potentially a 7A and 7B and go back and get time. You can get lost time, that's leave without pay, LWOP, or you can buy back time, which isn't free, but it's an option. You should know about it. So those are 2 things you can do. Another thing you can do is go back and get money back. So oftentimes you pay co-pays to doctors who don't understand OWCP. They take your health insurance. So you can go get that money back once your claim's accepted. And then you can get your mileage, your travel, and so forth back once your claim is accepted. So once your claim is accepted, those are the things that happen. You begin, you hopefully already got treatment. OWCP pays your doctor's bills, and you receive all your benefits. Your CA-17s are enforced. Your doctor writes narrative report or writes restrictions on your CA-17, and your supervisor's got to follow those. And if your supervisor can't and sends you home, you fill out CA-7 forms and get paid. Somebody's going to stop that and have your supervisor write up a light duty assignment. and that's what you're looking for, or limited duty. So once your claim is accepted, you're eligible for all of your benefits, 100% of them. And until your claim is accepted, you're eligible for nothing at all. But let's talk about the CA-17 for a minute. Whether your claim is accepted or not, you need to get one right away. As soon as you go in and report your injury to your supervisor, and you fill out your CA-1 and 2 and you request your 16, request a CA-17. It's a duty status report. This is the only way a doctor can limit your duties, can write restrictions, take you off of work, and so forth. So get one of those right away. Your supervisors may not want to do it, and if they don't, we'll print one off of federalinjurycenters.com and have your doctor write in side A, which is the supervisor's side, that they refuse to give you one, because they've got to have some way to restrict your duties, and that's the only way to do it. So once your claim is accepted, what happens next? You're eligible for all your benefits. And so you've got to go out and advocate for yourself, fill these forms out, get the documentation necessary to get your benefits, and send that stuff in. Don't delay. And what benefits do you receive once your claim is accepted? Well, I kind of just went over it. I mean, you're allowed to be paid for your time off, even back pay. You can get paid back for your sick and annual leave that you used. You can be reimbursed for money that you spent out of your own pocket related to your work injury, and you can be reimbursed for mileage. That's really important stuff. Those are great benefits. And by the way, those are great benefits that, like, state work comp programs don't really have these benefits, and when they do, they're harder to attain and they're worse. They pretty much suck. But federal work comp benefits are great. You just have to access them. So but the key I want to get back to, though, is that you've got to be your own best advocate. You've got to fight for yourself. Stand up for yourself. Don't be pushed around. Don't let your management lie to you. Don't let them scare you into not reporting your injuries. Don't let them threaten you. Don't let them penalize you. You have options, okay? You have unions that you can file grievances with, and you should definitely do that. If it's against or opposite the law, it's definitely against your contract with the union, so you should file grievances. And the more you push back, the less they'll push on you. And there's not enough of you doing this, okay? Most of you are scared to do it. Call OSHA. Most of you are scared to call OSHA. And I had someone message the other day that said when he talked to OSHA, they said they don't handle OWCP. Well, you're right, but you're not calling about OWCP. You're calling because of, is this a violation? You want to report an injury and they don't want you to. Is that a violation? You want to report an injury and they threaten your job. Is that a violation? They punish you by sending you 56 miles away to work for limited duty. Is that a violation? They won't take your restrictions from your CA-17 signed by your medical doctor. Is that a violation? You've got to call OSHA and ask the questions. Is this a violation? Am I being treated fairly? Are they violation? So don't be pushed around. All right, you've got to be able to fight for yourself, advocate for yourself, and your unions are strong and they're great. And if any of them don't help you, go up the chain. Okay, call the national office, call a district rep, but don't give up. You throw your hands up. Don't throw your hands up. Don't give up. You need to be able to fight for yourself. I think that if everyone would fight for themselves more, you would stop being pushed so much, because management would get the message. This isn't okay. OSHA shows up a few times and they're like, well, I don't want OSHA to show up again. And so you need to do that stuff. I was told to tell you to file EEOs. You can go to the to that website. It's a government site, and it'll tell you how to do it. And filing with them, filing with OSHA, and then your union can help you file with the labor board. At some point, somebody's got to push back on this. And 1 out of 13 claims being accepted is unacceptable, and it's happening because you're letting it happen. And there's not enough doctors, obviously, okay? And doctors write bad reports and don't understand the system, and that's a sad reality. But what are you going to do about it? Lay down? Okay, if it was me, I'd write my own report and tell the doctor to sign it. Okay, but what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't just take a denial, and I wouldn't take management pushing me around. And I know so many of you, and so many of the people I know don't take it either. but as a whole, it's being taken, and we don't want that to happen anymore. And so this next topic is interesting because it kind of goes along with that. What steps do you take when your job has caused? You know, when the job causes PTSD, stress, trauma, anxiety, panic attacks. Well, I mean, that stuff happens. You know, you get hurt and you're stressed about, am I going to get fired? Are they going to punish me? You know, how do I make it to retirement? And that causes stress and anxiety, and you know, these are real things. So what steps do you take when your job has caused that? Well, step number one, you need to go talk to EAP, your employee assistance program. Go talk with them, because they'll talk with you. If you're a VA employee, they have you know, they have counseling, and go do that. But have your, you know, you need to visit a mental health doctor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and tell them what's going on, and have them write up your condition, just like a doctor would write up a condition for a shoulder injury. You know, have them explain that you were doing just fine until the supervisor did whatever they did, or you were doing just fine until you got in this massive car accident and your LLV rolled, or you were doing just fine until you walked up on this person's front porch and the dog came out and bit you. You know, those things cause anxiety and they cause PTSD. And I'm not a doctor or a counselor or a psychiatrist or psychologist or any of that, but I've seen it happen. And so, you know, you've got to be able to push back on this stuff. So what do is you advocate for yourself. Go find a doctor who will see you and write up what happened to you. Okay, that report goes into Department of Labor, and that's the basis of getting that claim accepted. And then you can get help for that. And you can have restrictions for issues that are psychological, just like you can have restrictions for issues that are musculoskeletal. You know, those are real things, and Department of Labor covers that, but they require a doctor who specializes in that to, you know, to prove that this is an issue that you're having and that it's because of work. So it's really important. But this goes right back to letting management do what they're doing to you. You're letting them run over you and lie to you, and you know, you're accepting that they don't understand the rules, and you know, that's just not acceptable. Who's going to be the first one to stand up and say no more? And then who's going to follow that person? And who's going to follow that person until there's a crowd of people that's so large and so loud that it can't be ignored and they can't do this to you anymore. So that's what that takes, because, you know, stress and anxiety from jobs or from the job caused by management, that's unacceptable. Those are just bad managers. And let me tell you something else about management. You know, all they are is an employee with a different job title and different responsibilities. And that's it. They're no better than you. They're no different than you, other than they have a title that's different than yours. But they're not allowed with that title to violate the rules and the law. And you can't let them do it. So, you know, I've got this packet of laws that I send out, and I owe many of you an email with these laws, and I'm going to do that. But anybody else that wants it, you should put your email in the comment section here. Let me send it to you. Thanks to being on Mr. Hodges' show last night, I came across and I was alerted to a new rule in the Code of Federal Regulations that I hadn't seen before that says you can't be sent more than 50 miles away for a light duty job. So I'm going to be researching that, but that could be a game changer, because I know people in Florida at one particular station that are being sent 56 miles away. And if that's not punishment, I don't know what it is. But, you know, many of you are just kind of taking it. And I don't want you to just take it anymore. I'm here to fight for you. And but you got to fight for yourself. If you fight for yourself, you're going to have a really good outcome, because they'll start realizing they can't push you around. So I'm going to answer some of these questions. I want to get to as many of these as I can. And if I can't get to them all before I end, I'll definitely answer them later on and into tomorrow. But Paul asked, is there a time frame to claim travel? So Paul, there's not. You claim travel as soon as your claim is accepted, and then you just start documenting, send in documentation with an OWCP 957, and that's how you get paid. But there's no time frame to claim it. Once your claim is accepted, just do it. As long as you haven't accepted an open claim, you can access these benefits. So just get it done. And Pam and Ron, hi. Sorry I'm getting all of you late, because I wanted to go through this list of things. I'll answer your questions now. Why does it take so long to get approval for therapy? Well, Kim, that's a good question. You know, what happens is whoever's providing the therapy, say the physical therapist, they are allowed to request pre-authorization electronically using the ACS website, the same place you go for provider searches. And most of the time they don't understand that they have to pre-authorize therapy. All physical therapy after 120 days has to be pre-authorized. So if they're not requesting pre-authorization, that's why it's not getting approved. Almost all things like this are because of the office, the doctor, the therapist, the chiropractor, whatever. And because they don't really fully understand the rules. But they have to request pre-authorization, and it's an electronic form. They can just fill it out online and send it in. There's a place where they can upload documentation that explains why they need and what they need. So I hope that helps, but it's on the ACS website, and to get to ACS, you just simply Google DOL or OWCP ACS, and it'll be there. And then when the doctor logs in, they can request authorization. That's how it's done. But if they do it right, you're going to get a response to that in like 72 hours. So if you're saying it takes long, it means your doctor or your therapist is doing a bad job or doing the wrong job, okay? And it's usually because they just don't understand the system. It's a complicated system. So nurse said, I fell down the other day, had to drive back to the office to check on the bleeding, and my supervisor wanted to force me to go see their doctor. All right, so let me just stop there. They can't force you to see their doctor. You have the right to initial selection of physician. However, if you're bleeding, if you have a broken bone, you've been bitten by a dog, anything like that may be an emergency, then go to an urgent care and get it dealt with. But understand that the urgent care center, those doctors and nurse practitioners primarily, that's what they're using, those are going to get your claim denied. And so go get your emergency situation dealt with, and then go find a doctor who will get this done. If it's a doctor in an area where we're at, obviously that's where you should go, so we can get your claim accepted. If it's in an area where I've trained a doctor, you should go there. If not, you have to go to ACS and search, or go to Google and search OWCP injury doctor in your city. Any doctor that wants to help you will be listed if you search Google for OWCP injury doctor in your city. If you search and I'm in that vicinity, you're going to find my office like 3 or 5 or 10 times on the first page of Google, because I want you to know we're there. And that's how doctors are. If they want to help you, they'll be found on Google. Otherwise, you go to the provider search on DOL ACS. But when they tell you, when the supervisor tells you you have to go to their doctor, that's opposite of the law. The law says 3 things. It says you can choose your own doctor. It says management has the responsibility of telling you you can choose your own doctor. And 3, it says you cannot be forced to go to the company doctor. So that's pretty much the whole thing. So hopefully that helped. Let's see. But if you can't get an MRI, they can't tell what's wrong. All right, so Felita, that's exactly right. Sometimes you need an MRI. And so here's what happens. In areas where we work with MRI facilities who understand or who are taught by me, and so they know how to bill OWCP. And in those cases, they'll do your MRI for free to you, and then when your claim's accepted, they'll bill it and get paid that way, so they don't ask you for money. But so many places won't do that. They don't know me yet, and I don't have offices in those areas, so you have to use your health insurance, which comes along with copays and deductibles, which sucks. And but later on, when your claim's accepted, you can get that back. So that's probably how you're going to have to do it if you can't get an MRI. So and if it's needed, you'll have to use your health insurance, and every MRI facility will accept that. And I don't like that answer. What I just told you, I don't like it, but it's the way you get it done. Is anybody else having a hard time hearing me? Sue says she can't hear me. If you can't hear me, let me know right now that you can't hear me. But Sue, I think you may have your volume down or on mute. After being out 2 years, what happens if you still aren't released for full duty? Well, full duty release is a medical decision. So if you're not released, go talk to your doctor and find out if you can be. Ask your doctor for a functional capacity evaluation, which will give the doctor some really good scientific information about your physical capabilities. And as long as management's cooperating with the doctor, then you know, you'll be able to continue to be on light duty as long as management agrees. But they should have offered you a light duty position at this point. Talk to your union. Had an accident in August on the route, had OWCP. I'm getting bills. What should I do? If they're sending you bills, that means that the office, the medical office, is not billing OWCP. So give them your claim number and tell them to bill OWCP and tell them to stop billing you. So Jerry, hi Jerry, she said she's doing all that, but now just got a phone call at 5:15 from the examiner that they want a second opinion to expect a letter in the mail. Should I be worried about this? Well, no, don't be worried about it, Jerry. Second opinions are common. It's part of the rules, are allowed to do it. But I would go to your doctor and tell them you're going to be going to a second opinion doctor and have them fill out a CA-20 and a narrative as well that will help that doctor make decisions that are in your best interest. Don't go there empty-handed, okay? Go there with current good information. Dr. Paulson and Dr. Weinberg should be able to help you with that. Corby, this is about to get good. I hope it got good. I'm going through these late, so I hope it did get good. Let's see. Thank you, everyone who's given me your email address. It's going to take me some time because I've got to write your emails down, put it in my Outlook program, and send these out. But I'll get it done, okay? Those of you that are waiting on it, you already know that I'm slow, but I'll make it happen. Injuries bring the supervisor's bonuses down. Let me tell you something, Nancy. I read this someplace. You can take it as fact, though. They're not supposed to do that. So if you know for sure that supervisors are getting bonused for reducing injuries, you should call OSHA and ask if that's a violation, because that's BS. Christopher, I'm not sure I got your email. Send it to me at Chris Helms, H-E-L-M-S, Chris Helms, M-B-A, like Money Boy Apple, at gmail.com, and I'll take a look at it. We get a lot of emails, and I definitely don't want you to feel like we're avoiding you. Please send it to me directly, and I'll take a look at it. So Sandra was her on the job. OWCP refused paying a hospital bill. They said a CA-16 had to be given within 15 days. No one mentioned that to me. All right, so it's actually 7. Sorry. You have to request your CA-16 within 7 days. There's no 15-day anything. What you've got is a billing person at a hospital that doesn't understand OWCP. And give them your 9-digit claim number and tell them to just work it out amongst themselves. They shouldn't be billing you. Your claim is not finished yet. But if you can, if you didn't get a CA-16, the supervisor had 4 hours to give it to you from your injury, so you probably have a grievance, and I would go file it. Tammy's on. Hi, Tammy. Hang in there. Say hi to Scott. Should I fill out a travel form for driving from Kentucky to Alabama? Rod, you need to call your claims examiner and get it pre-authorized in advance because they'll only pay up to 100 miles round trip without prior authorization. So call your claims examiner, okay? With that, you should be able to get paid with a 957 form. Sherry, I've had the worst experience with workers' comp. Hope I never have to file anything again. I hear you. Listen, believe me, that's why I do this. But if everybody would push back on those that are pushing you, this would get easier. This is going to take a massive effort. Nationwide, it's going to take an effort. Let's see. If an employee sends a couple of emails to the agency safety staff in regards to an OWCP denial, and the staff member in safety never even bothered to open the email, would it be a grievance? I don't know, Mike. Probably not. There's no rules in OWCP that says they have to look at your emails, so I don't know if you have a grievance or not. Talk to your union president or a steward and ask. It certainly would be friendlier if they would just open your emails and look at it. If you're an MMI and you go for impairment rating, can you get paid for travel? Sue, you can, but I recommend you call your claims examiner in advance and tell them that's going to happen and get approval. Okay, so a couple of you are saying you hear me just fine. That's good. My doctor says I need shoulders replaced because of bad rotator cuffs. Recovery time about a year for each. Where do I start? Well, you start. I hope you have a claim that you've reported your injury. So if you haven't, start there. Number two, Make sure your doctor writes a narrative to get your claim accepted if it hasn't been already. If not, get that done. Number 3, tell your doctor to pre-authorize the surgery that's needed. If your diagnosis is one that does not warrant surgery, for example, shoulder sprain, doctors will make bad diagnoses sometimes. They'll never approve your surgery. So make sure you have the right diagnosis, okay? A diagnosis that warrants surgery, like rotator cuff tear. That's what you have to do there. Great. I have so many email addresses. This is really awesome. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got here. Do I know any Department of Labor attorneys? Yeah, so send us a message. We're really close with Eric Blowers. That's like flowers, but a B. And he's an excellent attorney. He's very caring, and he's, as I understand it, the most inexpensive of all of them. And somebody said once, well, do I get what I paid for? Well, no, you're going to get so much more. This is a good deal. Our thing is we want to work with people that care about you and treat you fair. So Eric Blauer is a great attorney. If you don't want to take a referral from me, I understand it, or anybody else that's listening. Go to Google and search OWCP attorneys. You'll definitely find one. There's a handful in this country that are pretty good. So on OWCP since June 2017, waited a year for comp nurse, then said she could only be on a case for 10 months, which has just ended. Now what? All right, if your nurse case manager is off the case, that's awesome, okay? Because sometimes they don't have good intentions. Don't worry about it. You don't need a nurse case manager. You need your doctor to do a good job, so that's all that matters. Be sure your doctor's doing the right job, okay? Got injured on March 29th, have a claim number and just waiting to get approved. So don't wait to get approved. Make sure your doctor does a good job writing that narrative report. Take a look at it. Make sure it's good and detailed and answers the questions they're going to want. Gerald said, if you get assigned a nurse from DOL, should you sign a medical release? Well, you have two options. If you're going to work with the nurse, then sign the release that they ask you to sign. If you're not, then sign a letter that says you don't want the nurse involved in your case. That's a personal decision, though. Rod, cervical fusions aren't bad. You are a trooper. Nothing about it sounds good to me. What do you need an attorney for? Nancy, I'm glad you asked. So there's a few things. Number one, if you want to get a scheduled award, they'll want to deny you. You may need an attorney. Two, you may have trouble getting paid on your CA7s and getting reimbursed for mileage and your expenses. You may want an attorney. If you get in a car accident on the job, you may need an attorney. But your standard personal injury attorney doesn't know anything about federal workers' comp, so you'll need a federal work comp attorney who can deal with a PI attorney. Those are just some of the reasons you need an attorney. When you want to do disability, and I don't want that for any of you, but if you want it, about 40% of the very best reports get denied. You'll need an attorney, or you may need one, okay? Let's see. Yes, Nancy, watch what you sign to be released. That's exactly right. Don't just sign your life away. Can we get assistance on filling out a CA2? There's some spots that are a little tricky. Nicole, I'm glad you asked. Go to federalinjurycenters.com, federalinjurycenters with an S.com. Click the videos tab, and there's a button there, or there's a video there for how to fill out a CA2. It's every box. We're going to walk you right through it. It'll take you like 18 minutes, but go in there and take a look at that. I'm glad you asked. Federalinjurycenters.com has several videos on how to fill out CA1 and 2 and CA7 forms. It's really important to help you file a claim and get paid. So take a look at those. We'll walk you through step by step on every video on how to, or every box on how to get those things filled out. So I've gotten to the end of the questions, which is unusual. If we have some more questions, go ahead and hit them here. I got about 5 more minutes before I'm going to have to sign off. If I can just, if I get one thing across tonight, it's going to be don't let management push you around. All right, you got to push back. Be respectful, be professional, but appropriately be your own best advocate. All right, don't let bad things happen to you and then say, well, it's somebody else's fault. I mean, it may be, but it's your life. And so don't let your life get ruined by a work injury. these, the ruin that people go through financially and with disability are completely avoidable. So go to a doctor that has your best interest in mind, and don't let your supervisors tell you things that are not the rules, not the laws. You need to be able to get informed. I've got lots of videos on here. You should come back and look. You should call or email or message me anytime. We'll try to get to your questions as soon as possible. And go to your union stewards and use your union as a resource. And if your union is not helping you, then just go up the ladder and find somebody that will. And don't stop until you find help. Because a work injury is a real thing. And, I keep asking a lot of people, I say, most of you have been with your agency for more than 20 years. Are you younger today than you were 20 years ago? Well, no. And is 70 pounds or 50 pounds, is it lighter now? Well, you know what? In a lot of ways, it's actually heavier because you're older and your body's weaker and it's been through a lot more stuff. And so your job's not getting easier. All right. You can't allow a work injury to just linger. You need to get the help so that you can make it to retirement. I know that's so many of your goals out there. You want to make it to retirement in your federal agency. Your retirement benefits are great. So, do what it takes to get this stuff done. Okay. So, anyways, it was really good talking to everybody tonight. I'm sorry that I'm cutting it off short. We had a good audience tonight. I'll be looking at your questions throughout the evening and tomorrow. And, we're here for you. And we hope your union's there for you. We are friends with so many great union representatives. And, we think if you can get with them, that'll be to your interest. I have to answer this question. Sue, I'm glad you asked. Why is disability bad? Because by year 2, you're making 40% of your income. If that sounds good to you, go for disability. 40% of your income is hard to withstand. Okay, there's more to it than that, but and that's rough. Okay, so we'd like you to avoid it. So it was really good talking to everyone tonight. I'm really grateful that you came on and looked. Thank you so much. Look for us next week. Go to Twitter and follow me at Fed Injury Center, and then follow us here at Wednesday Night OWCP Chats. Just hit the follow button, and go to our Federal Injury Center's Facebook page as well, and look for us on YouTube. We're putting videos on there at Federal Injury Centers. So at Fed Injury Center on Twitter, and Federal Injury Centers here, YouTube, and plus Wednesday Night OWCP Chats. It's an honor to help you. It's a pleasure to be here every Wednesday night with you, and we look forward to next time. And we'll see you in Birmingham next week, where we'll be live in the office. So if you're in the Birmingham area, come to the office and be in our live audience. It'll be a lot of fun. So thanks very much. Everyone have a good night. Hope this helps very much. Good night.